Hi everybody, my name's Kelly Phones. I'm an educator here at Montavilla Sewing Centers in Portland, Oregon. Today we're going to be working with the Janome M7 and we're going to be covering decorative stitches and how you can combine them to create your own unique stitches, as well as how you can stitch out messages or names. I had girls in Girl Scouts. It seems like all I did was put their names in every single piece of clothing they had when they'd go off to summer camp. So I got in the habit of just having a bunch of ribbon, stitching their names out. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So to work with your stitch sequencing, you're going to come into your categories. The majority of the time you're going to be doing this with decorative stitches or your alphabet. So we are going to pick something fun. We're going to pick the play stitches. And you have a couple pages of them. One page, where'd they go? So we're going to do the dress form. See this button right here where you have 3 hearts all of the same kind? That means that the machine is going to stitch out this dress form until you are done. You can stitch out 6 inches, you can stitch out a yard. Machine doesn't care. It's going to keep stitching them out until you're done with it. If you tap this button and you tap your dress form, it will stitch out one dress form. You can then add a shoe to it. You can add sweet to it. So this is how super easy to combine your stitches. You have different options for different ones. So if I don't want, I go back up here. So now it's going to alter this one. I can erase this and I can tell it I want it to be smaller. Next one I want to be large. So I can pick how I want these to stitch out. If I don't like them, I simply delete them. And these arrows act like a cursor. So whatever I don't like or I want to modify, I can simply do it right here. So I have Cafe highlighted. And I can turn it just like that. Why you'd want that upside down, I'm not really sure. So I can come back up here and I can delete everything I want except that dress form. So that's really all it takes. You just kind of combine them together any way you like, and you just keep on going. We can go back to a different category, and we can add things from a different category. So if you like, you can do a whole transportation thing. We can do rocket ships and helicopters and cars and trains, and we have boats. Oops, one too many boat. So now we have boats. Now, if I want to see what that whole repetition, what that whole new pattern is going to look like, I just tap that magnifying glass and I zoom in on it. So that's what my new stitch is going to look like. So I believe I have just about every transportation device that's in the machine. Just for fun, let's toss in the elephant because people ride elephants. So that's what it's going to look like. This one is just going to stitch down at the bottom of the boat. Now, if I feel like I'm going to use this a lot, I can go into here to my file folder and I can save that. And I can tap here and I can name it. Now, I often find that I am a little bit too cryptic, so you don't want, necessarily a really long name, but something that's going to make sense to you in a year or so. So I'm going to call it I'm still looking for my letters. So I'm just going to call it transpo, and I'm going to hit OK. All right, so now that I have my stitch, my new stitch renamed, I'm going to go ahead and make a folder for that. Now my friends have a young son who I tend to make a lot of stuff for. His name is Jimmy. So I'm just going to call this folder Jimmy. So that way I know anything that I've created for a project I'm working on for him, I'm going to find it in that folder. So then to put this stitch, to save it, I have to select the folder it's going into. And then you just hit OK. Now we're going to delete this. And to retrieve it, you have a file folder here on the right edge of your buttons. So you're going to tap that. I'm going to select Jimmy's folder. There's my stitch. And here I brought it back into my sewing area. So now I can just stitch that out as much as I want. Alphanumerics, or your ABCs, you do very much the same. You have quite a number of them built in. I'm just going to select the block strip stitch. If I want to, I can just add Jimmy to this stitch. So I can combine my alphanumerics with any of my other decorative stitches on the machine. For right now, we're just going to get rid of that. And one thing I stitch a lot of, like I'll make someone a tote bag and I will stitch, oops, I want to do it that way. Let that lowercase. So I will just stitch out happy, and then go back to uppercase. If I wanted it a smaller font, I could choose small. So happy birthday is something that I will probably have stored on my machine because that's something I tend to stitch out a lot. So if I make a purse or a little tote bag or something, I'm going to stitch it out, stitch out happy birthday on the lining, and I'm going to add the name and maybe the date to it. So it's really that simple. You just put everything together the way you want it, stitch it out, and you're good to go. If you have any questions or run into any difficulties about stitch sequencing or doing your alphabets, go ahead and look in your instruction manual. Don't forget to scan your QR code for additional information, or you are welcome to contact me at the Beaverton store or any of our other stores. Thanks for watching.